embarrassing moments on paternity court.
And I can't be cuffing Columbus. About a year ago, I was in love with a. It just keeps getting worse.
Oh, when
I
you
always
come
tell
back,
him.
not when you're going. It's a difference in coming back and going.
No, it's not.
So, Mr.
Going,
Brown,
coming back.
Mr. Brown.
We often say looks can be deceiving, but they can also push people to the edge of confusion. Take Mr. Brown, for instance. The guy was standing in paternity court acting all frantic because the child looked nothing like him, and he couldn't continue to step up as a father without DNA proof.
My hairline is
Yeah.
straight. His like an arrow.
All right,
What you mean? That don't mean
hold
nothing.
on. Miss Parker, Mr. Brown.
I mean, obviously, you know that's your baby. It's time to step up, be a man.
Okay, that was amusing to watch, but that is not how the whole thing started. After meeting Miss Parker, the man figured that he had finally met the love of his life. But the whole movie romance got ruined when she claimed to get pregnant within just 4 days of them together.
Starting your own relationship was good. We loved each other very much. Then later on, she just started doing things. I remember one time later on in the relationship, I called her. I couldn't get in contact with her. I called her parents. I don't know shit. I called her dad. He was at work. I don't know where she at.
Yeah, pregnant and disappearing into thin air. It was like she wanted to step into paternity denial. But in the plaintiff's defense, too much attention from her boyfriend just made her feel suffocated, and she had to take a break from him. Let's just play along.
I need to be free because at the end of the day,
Free? I wasn't doing anything.
What you mean? I be stuck with the baby 24/7, honey.
Oh, but I have to go to work and do stuff, so I'll be
You don't go to work. What job?
Hold on. Indeed, this just added more to the confusion, so the judge asked the baby mama to degloss what she had really been up to. So Miss Parker continued that her many insecurities and trust issues pushed her to leave the house at just a drop of a hat.
Where you felt smothered?
Where I felt like I couldn't go nowhere. Where I felt like I just stuck in the house 24/7. He just want to lay up under me, and I cannot go anywhere.
Are you serious?
Yes, Your Honor.
No.
Brown, you thought she was out with another man during this?
I don't know what she was doing. She never told me anything. I call, no answer. I text, no answer. Call people, call parent. No one knows where she
call
at.
who?
Going under the radar just like that does no good to anyone. However, instead of baby mama's odd way of dealing with her relationship, focus on the pregnancy part. Turns out that though Mr. Brown loved the child and his mother, he refused to sign the birth certificate.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
I didn't sign the birth certificate.
Did you have a doubt?
Yes, a 50% doubt.
That's a
because-
big one.
Yes,
You couldn't bring yourself to sign the birth certificate because you knew you had a doubt.
yes. Then the dates, they're not adding up. Well, like she said, she got pregnant during June. The baby was born in January.
See, there came the mess up in the dates part. And we know that when such notes hit, the judge takes out her conception calendar. And it showed that the baby was delivered at only 7 months. Nevertheless, the plaintiff claimed that her baby was premature.
He was born early,
Yes,
very
Your Honor.
early.
Yes, he was born
Okay,
very
but
early.
that still doesn't matter about the dates because it was born early.
It does. I had high blood pressure and I had heart problems.
Okay, but
Okay,
still.
but the dates doesn't matter. You're still the father.
The dates don't matter.
What you mean it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter.
Dates matter. They do matter a lot, Missy. Feeling and believing doesn't change paternity, now does it? By now, it seemed like this mommy's assertion was based on her preferences rather than reality. Unfortunately, her brother also sided with her.
Obviously, a blind man can see that that's his child. I mean, look at the baby, look at him. I mean, it's just crazy. Like I don't even know why we're here today.
Yeah, why are you here?
Why are you here? I mean, obviously, you know that's your baby. You know that's your baby. It's time to step up, be a man. Damn, I mean, do what you have to do for your child.
I'm there
You have
all
to
the
buy
time.
something. Buy something.
I do buy
Be a
stuff.
man.
I
Be
do
a
buy
man.
About the insecurity part, Mr. Brown testified that all of his suspicions were instigated by her girlfriend in the first place. And no matter how hard he wanted his relationship to work, he couldn't shake off the habit of disappearing.
If you
And
just tell me
even
where
if-
you going, then I wouldn't have no
I
reason of
always tell
cheating.
him, Your Honor, when I come back.
How come you? Oh, when
I
you
always
come
tell
back,
him.
not when you're going. It's a difference in coming back and going.
No, it's not.
So, Mr.
Going and
Brown,
coming back.
It was clear that the couple loved each other a lot and wanted the baby to connect them rather than drifting them apart. And that is what paternity court is all about. You know, picking up skeletons so people could move forward and start. Let's see if the environment has what they've been hoping for.
you are not Malachi's father. I'm sorry for you both. I know you wanted a different result.
Hereditary hand deformity popped Miss Smith's bubble in the worst possible way. In any case, there was a chance that a stranger was her father, and this had women in pieces. Not knowing who to blame, the plaintiff started her testimony like this.
How'd you find out that he may not be and Mr. Jackson could be?
It was just one day at the house. My mom was just first kidding around, and then it got kind of serious after I had my child, who was born with 6 fingers, and that's when she actually told me that Mr. Jackson also had the 6 fingers as well.
Finding out the bitter reality was a lot for the young woman, but she wasn't the only victim in this whole saga. Mr. Jackson was also outraged over the whole being left out for 28 years part, because he had evidence of being the Kissimmee woman's father.
A picture of my hand.
With the 6th finger.
With the 6th finger. Can we see your hands?
I don't have no 6 fingers.
Oh, okay.
Is it only one child? How many children do you have that have this trait?
2, the one I have now.
The child you're pregnant with?
Yes.
If this is hereditary, then it leaves no doubt about Mr. Jackson being the father, but only if things were that simple. Mr. Thompson had also done his research and apparently claimed that there was also a chance that 6th fingers weren't passed genetically.
I did my research on this 6 finger thing.
Let me see
Ain't no
this.
research to be done. It's hereditary.
Right? It's some
Sir.
hereditary stuff that
The research does show that it can occur even if there is no other family history.
This is just a mess. So we went back to look at how all of this started in the first place. Turns out that Miss Galaviz had wrapped both men around her fingers. Well, they both had no idea about it. And when she got pregnant, she picked that defendant instead of Mr. Jackson.
When I was with Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson went together like over a year, and I didn't get pregnant, so I didn't figure that he would be the father because I had met Mr. Thompson, and like in a couple of months, I got pregnant. So I just was figuring that Mr. Thompson was her father.
Were you using protection with both of these men during your intimate relationship?
No, Your Honor.
Even though the guy at the altar wasn't the pick, he kept coming back for the child as he had a strong hunch that the baby could be his. But every time he came by, Mr. Jackson was pushed back by the mama as she didn't want him around.
What happened? Are you pregnant? Yeah, it's not yours. She was very sarcastic about it. And I was like, okay. So I left well enough alone. I kept track of the time and everything, and when she gave birth to the young lady, I went there. Again, I was told, she's not your daughter.
But Mr. Jackson didn't stop there. He went to the lengths of contacting Mr. Thompson and telling him that he was also the possibility. Wow, what a guy! Still, he wasn't let around the young woman for this long, and now she stood at the podium, also blaming him for neglect.
She said that he couldn't be at the hospital, whatnot, and I was there. And you asked me to leave? I'm not nowhere in this picture.
However, Miss Galaviz refused to be painted as the villain in the situation in her own words. Both men knew about the plaintiff and chose not to step up, which was reason enough for her to not depend on them when it came time to bring up her daughter.
You're saying is
around.
despite the fact that I was telling you one story, you should have done something else.
Yes, Your Honor, he could have came for it just like I could have did.
How could I?
But he didn't do it.
Both men were upset about being labeled as the deadbeat, and Mommy had a hard time being portrayed as a bad mother, but they were all ignoring the fact that this was not about them. The trial was held to bring closure to the young plaintiff. So let's see if the results today serve that purpose.
It has been determined that her biological father is Mr. Thompson.
Thank Jesus.
What would be your reaction if you tapped into the conversation of your wife revealing paternity secrets? As you can see in this case, such a conversation led to Miss Jacobs being abandoned on her very 14th birthday. And today, she demands an explanation for such brutal treatment by her father.
Ms. Jacobs, you claim that your world was shattered just after your 14th birthday when your dad suddenly up and disappeared.
Yes, Your Honor.
You'd always believed Ms. Jacobs was your biological daughter. Then on her 14th birthday, you overheard a conversation that changed everything.
So, things got crummy when intoxicated Mommy dropped the bombshell of paternity. Not knowing that the truth was being heard by her husband, alcohol shots hit hard on the eavesdropping better half.
We were outside celebrating with 4th of July. I heard an argument inside the house. So I go in to see what's going on, and my ex-wife, her mother and her sister was in there, and she was screaming at her mother like she was drinking, so she was being belligerent. She's like, well, you know there's a chance they're not his kids, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to tell him, but I had done slipped in and was standing right behind her and overheard all.
However, it slipped that the plaintiff was unaware of the wicked present her mother got for her. It turned out that her mother's confession ruined her life, but she blamed her daddy for bad events in her life, so she cried her heart out in the letter like this.
I actually just seen him walk out of the house. He was really angry. After that, we ended up being put in foster care. Dad, I wish you never left. It really sucks that you're not here. Every night I pray that you come back. Sometimes I even pretend what it would be like if you were still here. I don't know when I'm ever going to see you again, and it hurts. I'm kind of angry about it too.
Man, that was heart-shattering. It was apparent that Miss Jackson was paying for her mother's false actions. Further, it came out that the young girl's daddy issues destroyed her into getting pregnant at 16 due to the damage her mother caused, and no one bothered to support her. Poor child.
I didn't understand until I was 16 years old. It was really hard. I actually ended up getting pregnant when I was 16 just to be emancipated.
So you got pregnant on purpose?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's obvious that you were looking for the family you didn't have.
Yes, Your Honor.
You had no idea your daughter was going through all of this?
No, Your Honor.
Up next, the defendant said that the plaintiff's mother's infidelity had ripped him apart from his daughter, as numerous times he caught her cheating on him. He stated that once, her coworker spilled the beans about his wife swindling, so he put his detective hat on and caught her red-handed like this.
So I go out looking for her, and I start out at the Walmart where I normally know that she goes, and I caught a guy down there that I knew worked with her at her job. And I asked him if he had seen her. He's like, well, no, she's probably hanging out with this guy that she's always meeting. What are you talking about? And he's like, oh, her and him, they've been sexually in a relationship now for about 4 months.
Wow, I guess mommy had some nerve, as Miss Jacob revealed that at the hospital, she demanded her father to be there for her, but the woman gave her a shut-up call with "he was not your father." Her heart exploded again.
When I was 16, I told my mother that I didn't want to be around anymore. I wanted my dad to come down for my daughter's birth, her birth. I had her when I was 17. And when my mom found out, she was like, I don't know why you would want him to be there. He's not your real father anyways. That means he's not her grandfather. That's when I looked at her. I kept her out of the birthing room when I gave birth to my daughter.
Ugh, I feel bad for the young girl, as her happiness and peace had been robbed by her mother. But it was not enough yet. Because further it was slipped that the daughter caught her mother sleeping with one of her acquaintances, and when she blurted it out, mommy acted innocent.
My mom was home, and a family member of mine came over to the house. They ended up taking a shower together. I went into the bathroom. I was like, Mom, what are you doing? She goes, I'm just getting a shower, go away. I went, and when they came out of the bathroom, they went into the bedroom. I walked back. I was like, Mom, I'm hungry. She goes, go lay down for a little bit. We're going to sleep.
Further, the plaintiff disclosed that after years, when her father contacted her back, she thrashed him in a rage. But he did not give up and explained the whole saga. She felt awful.
When I actually just got back in contact with my father after 5 years just a month ago. So he did show me all the paperwork and everything like that. I felt horrible. I really did, because I told him I wanted nothing to do with him. I felt like the most horriblest daughter on the face of the earth. I felt like I didn't deserve to be around my dad at that point in time.
Therefore, it was obvious that Miss Jacobs' life was botched up by her mother. Yet she mustered up the courage to explore the answer she needed, and both parties were ready to ride on the paternity riddle. So let's go get those results and see if they get a happy ending or not.
You are Aisha's father.
Babies are having babies again. Get ready for another roller coaster ride of love and drama. Picture this. A high school sweetheart gets pregnant, but now the man denies being the father. What's even crazier is that he suspects his friend might be the dad. Hold on tight, because this case is about to take a wild turn. We're diving into a battle where children are caught in the crossfire. What could have happened that made him question his friend's involvement? Miss Shands, devastated by her first love's denial, only wants one thing: to reunite her family. Will she succeed? Let's find out.
You appear in court today because you are devastated that your first love and the person you lost your virginity to is now denying your 15-month-old son, Aiden.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hollis.
Meet Miss Shands, the queen of mystery. Her ex-boyfriend claims she's a pathological liar and has cheated on him multiple times. No wonder he's questioning if the son is his. But here's the twist. After just one fight, she starts messing around with his friend. Miss Shands doesn't deny it. She finds it amusing because he did the same with her friend. Well, they say what goes around comes around, and this time it's all fun and games until she finds out she's pregnant. Brace yourself for the next chapter of this tangled web.
Me and his was close friends once before.
But
she used to come back and tell me that Mr. Amir, he was messing with one of my friends. We both were young, so.
Both y'all young now?
Yeah, we still are young, but I thought it was cool to go mess with one of his friends because he have slept with one of mine.
Hold on tight, because we're diving into the depths of a scandalous affair. Miss Shands was secretly involved with both boys. Scandalous, right? But here's the real shocker. She claims that the child belongs to Mr. Hollis, not the other guy. But wait, there's even more. She told Mr. Hollis and his mother that the baby could be either the other man's or his, but conveniently forgot to mention it to the other man. What's the motive behind this confusing game? It's a puzzle no one can crack. Get ready to unravel the truth.
You find out you're pregnant. You tell the other guy first. What was his response?
He was happy.
And so you also tell Mr. Hollis?
Not as soon as I got pregnant. He ended up finding out on the street. But I ended up telling him. I ended up telling him. And I guess he ended up telling his mom as well.
The judge is scratching her head in confusion. Miss Shands is keeping a secret from the other man, the potential father of her child. She claims he already suspected it and heard rumors on the streets, with people saying the kid looks like Mr. Hollis, but she never came clean. And guess what? Mr. Hollis even wrote a song about their beef. Ah, the ways of the young generation. They express their feelings through music. Can this tangled web of secrets ever be untangled? Let's find out.
At what point do you just say, you know what, I don't think you're the father, I think Mr. Hollis is my child's father? Do you ever have that conversation? Do you ever just come clean?
With the friend?
Yes.
No, I never even talked to him about it. He hears it off the streets because everybody on the streets tell him that the baby looked like Aiden.
Amidst the chaos, there's something undeniably beautiful about this case. Regardless of whether Mr. Hollis is the biological father or not, a bond has formed between him, his mother, and the little boy. The child's face lights up when he sees them, and they adore him. It's a connection that could last a lifetime, defying biology. Prepare for an emotional journey that explores the power of love and family bonds.
It's a real strong relationship. Like, I got attached, like, real fast.
So you have a real bond with this baby. Miss Shands, has this other guy developed a relationship with Aiden as well?
Not as really. When Aiden see Amir, they have a little thing like at each other, like they do it. Like every time he see him, like he can get on FaceTime with Amir, he be like
Drum roll, please. The moment of truth has arrived. Is Mr. Hollis the real father or not? The judge unveils the DNA reports, and it's official. Mr. Hollis is not the biological father. The revelation hits Miss Shands hard, knowing that her child has formed a bond with Mr. Hollis and his mother. Now, it's time for Miss Shands to reflect and make wise decisions as she navigates the path ahead. Will she find a way to keep her family united? Let's hope for the best.
Mr. Hollis, you are not the father. I see tears in your eyes, Miss Shands, because I know how desperately you wanted Mr. Hollis to be Aiden's biological father.